Hi folks, I'm Scott Giles, a certified hypno-coach and a certified diplomate of the National Guild of Hypnotists. My practice is a practice not just of hypnotism, but also of life coaching. The two disciplines merge together very well and create a synthesis that's more effective than either alone. Today's talk, I'm going to talk about decluttering and personal organization, specifically the theories of a very popular decluttering guru, Marie Kondo. Those of you who know me know that I'm a complete bug about personal organization and decluttering, and I live in a curated and clutter-free environment. So I've read pretty much all the different techniques that are out there, but Marie Kondo's technique touches me in a way because it has a certain kind of spirituality that I also want to talk about. Before I start that, though, I do want to mention that here at our practice, we will be offering a 4-session online program on decluttering on the Saturdays in February. So if you're curious about that, shoot me an email or message me through Facebook, and we'll talk about it, and I'll get you registered if you want to do that. It's $100 for the 4 sessions, and they're about 45 minutes long. We'll talk about Marie Kondo there, sure, but also about David Allen's Getting Things Done, about the Fly Ladies system of personal organization to bring your housework under control, and also the new work of Dan Charnas, which is based upon everything in its place, based upon a concept that comes out of restaurants. I'm an ex-chef at one point, and in a professional restaurant, the most important place is called the mise en place, everything in its place. And he's expanded that to a whole system of organization and decluttering. It'll be fun, and we'll cover all of that in those 4 sessions. Now, Marie Kondo. She's Japanese, of course, and she published her first book in 2011 called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And then a subsequent book has come out in 2016 called Spark Joy. She has a popular Netflix series now, and there are many videos of her or her disciples on YouTube, and I do recommend you look at these things. Her method is called the KonMari method. In fact, she even has a consulted program where for $1,500 you can train in her method and be certified for an additional $500 fee. But her method is very, very simple, and I do use it. Starting with the stuff, your possessions, you take them one category at a time. So you would do all your clothing or all your books or all your magazines or all your cooking utensils. You don't go by room. You go one category at a time. Gather them together. Take them out of where they are now and just put them in the center of a room. Then you go through it, each one piece at a time, touching each object and thinking about how you feel as you touch it. The touch is a very important part of her method. So you don't just look at it, you actually do caress it. Keep those things that spark joy, that make you feel joyful to have them. And everything else needs to go. Give it away, throw it away, recycle it. Her point is that doing this helps you discover what you really value in your life. And it's important to grasp that she's not talking about looking for things to throw out. You're trying to discover what you want to keep as a way of understanding what you really value in your life. And that's a spiritual exercise, and it can be a profound one. Her stuff is fun too, like clothing folding. She uses almost an origami-like folding of all clothing into rectangles so that they will stand upright on their own. I actually like this method because in my home, we have an 8-drawer dresser built into our bedroom, and my wife has taken all but 2 drawers. So everything that I have has to fit into 2 drawers. And so folding it in Marie Kondo's method actually lets me cram it all in there, and I appreciate that. She has things like, have only seasonal clothing in your closet so you can actually look at everything, and everything's spaced apart so it can breathe. And I'll talk about why she thinks your clothing breathes in a moment. She said when you go to bed, don't just put on a pair of sweats. Dress for bed in something that makes you feel good, that sparks joy. In your kitchen, she says, this was interesting. I didn't buy it at first, but I tried it. It does work. Organize your kitchen with the ease of putting things away paramount. So you don't put stuff around your stove and stuff where you are going to use them. You put them in some storage area like a pantry. But when you organize the kitchen, you have it arranged so that you can put stuff away easily, that things go into a cabinet that's right there and so on. And when you do this, your countertops are clear. And only the things you're using constantly are on the countertops. Everything else, in my case, stored in a pantry. And I have a special pass-through to that pantry. Makes it very easy for me to use something and then put it right away. Books. She says that no one needs more than 30 books. Now, books are a secret vice of mine. So, I would agree no one should have more than 30 books on their nightstand. But her point is that, in fact, most people don't reread their books. So you really don't need a lot of the books that you have, and you think you're going to get to and read someday, but that someday is never going to come. And so she says, cull the collection down. And she recommends that you stack them rather than putting them upright so that they have a chance to rest. And stack them with the spines hidden so it creates a uniform, restful appearance. She says your papers, you only need 3 bins for papers. Things that need attention, and if you're on top of things, that bin will be empty. Things that you must keep because, contracts, your passport, birth certificate, and things that you should keep because you're working on them right now, but they're in support of projects that are ongoing. But that's all you need. You don't need little file folders about everything. I'm not sure about that one, but that's her method. Now, overall, I think Marie Kondo goes too far. For example, she doesn't have a hammer in her home because when she held the hammer, it didn't spark joy. So when she needs to drive a nail, she uses a frying pan. If you came into my home and tried to drive a nail with one of my Le Creuset iron frying pans, I'd be really upset. But that's what she does. She doesn't have a dish rack. Instead, she puts her dishes outside to let them air dry. That wouldn't work really well in Chicagoland. So I think she goes too far. I'm not sure her system would really work for someone who's an absolute hoarder. But I love her idea of your lifestyle as an arc that you create and your possessions as companions. She is heavily influenced by the religion of Shinto. And in fact, she was herself an attendant at a Shinto shrine. And in Shinto, the belief is that everything, even what we would consider inanimate objects, are actually do have a life in them, and they do even have a kind of consciousness. So you treat them with respect as if they were alive. When she comes home, she touches the floor of her home to thank the floor for supporting her and her home. She argues that you shouldn't ball your socks up because they get tired being stood on all day. They should be allowed to lie flat so that they can rest. When she folds her clothing, she gives thanks to the clothing for being so beautiful and so helpful. Now, I don't think that these objects actually are alive. I'm not what's called an animist, which is a category of the Shinto religion. But I love the idea of treating things as companions and living with a deep appreciation for them. After the Second World War, the Japanese culture faced a paradox. They wanted to westernize, to use the technology they'd seen most effective, but they didn't want to lose what was distinctive about their culture. They felt the West had given up its soul in the sake of technology. So they sought to find ways to integrate technology, intuition, spirituality, art, and emotion, and the Shinto vibe is how they do that. And she's an ideal exemplar of it. So I do recommend you watch your show and read your books. Fold your clothing so they stand up straight. Get rid of all the little fiddly bits you have in your file cabinet and keep things simple. Purge your books. Keep your clothing hung so it has a chance to breathe, just like you would need a chance to breathe. It's fun, and it is, in fact, spiritual. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be back next Saturday, 2:30 Central Time, with another talk. Next Saturday, I'm going to talk about the angst of the zeitgeist, how people are reporting that there's a much higher baseline level of anxiety in general population right now. And I perceive it in my clientele, even in conversations that you may overhear on the train. And I'm going to talk about that level of angst. And if you're feeling it, what can you do to soothe yourself besides just, going into denial? I think you'll find that helpful. As always, if you would like to know how hypno-coaching can help you be a more effective version of yourself, I'd be delighted to help you. Feel free to reach out to my website or message me. Thank you very much. Have a good one.